Hello, and welcome to Brain Food Bytes. My name is Susanne Stirling. I'm Senior Vice President for International Affairs at the California Chamber of Commerce, which is the state's largest business organization, focusing on making California a better place to live, work, and do business. Today, we're going to talk about tariffs. Even though President Trump has put a pause for 90 days on tariffs, we still feel it's a very relevant topic. So let's start at the beginning. The new Trump administration promised to use tariffs in three ways: to protect domestic industries from unfair foreign practices, to raise revenue for the federal budget, and as leverage in foreign negotiations. President Trump stated in his inaugural speech, "I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families." Now, I will tell you that at the California Chamber of Commerce, we do recognize the strategic use of tariffs or the threat of tariffs, and that they may be a meaningful negotiation tool. However, we support a more traditional approach in lowering taxes, regulatory burden, and working towards free trade agreements as a method of lowering tariff barriers. Now, the Trump campaign pledge included 10 to 20% tariffs on all imports and more for China if they did not halt fentanyl shipments, and also a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico to pressure them into taking action on illegal migration and fentanyl. And so I think everyone knows that through January and February and into March, tariffs were off and on, including tariffs on steel and aluminum, and later automobiles and auto parts. Then on Wednesday, April 2nd, we had Liberation Day. President Trump announced new tariffs from the first Rose Garden ceremony. Unfortunately, the trade policy announcements continued to create uncertainty, as well as affecting consumer prices, consumer confidence, and the stock market, which resulted in the April 9th presidential order to pause tariffs with, and I will add that this is important, that there is still a reciprocal tariff of 10% across the board, except for China, which was raised to 125% in tariffs. Now, our U.S. trading partners have had different reactions and negotiating styles. The Canadians were very vocal and very organized in their opposition, and one can certainly understand that with the additional rhetoric going towards Canada. Mexico has been much more subtle in their approach, and Europe has looked at a variety of solutions for a variety of their countries, while the UK has tried to low-key a separate agreement on the side with just the United States. And China has, of course, retaliated in a major way with tariffs. President Trump also indicated that he would look into foreign non-tariff barriers as well, including such items as value-added tax, foreign subsidies and quotas, etc. Now, most economists have warned that this tariff plan would raise costs for businesses and consumers. In particular, tariffs hit small businesses as they are unable to pass these costs along to either their customers nor to absorb them. And then here in California, what impact will we have? As we have such a diverse economy, the tariff impact will be as diverse as well. Everything from agriculture to autos, the list goes on, including tourism, which is considered an export. We're already feeling the impact of fewer visitors coming from Canada, as there is unfortunately a growing anti-American sentiment across the globe. Now, I think everyone knows that California is the fifth largest economy in the world. Governor Newsom recently directed the state to pursue strategic relationships with our international partners separately and urged exemptions for California-made products from tariffs, saying that California is not Washington, D.C. Regarding the stock market, there are concerns about our pension funds through CalPERS and CalSTRS. While the funds are, of course, diversified and not totally dependent on the stock market, there can be an impact as a result of these tariffs, and the funds must meet their annual investment targets and, if not, be funded in other means. So in conclusion, I can say that for now, there's a Little tiny bit of good news in that nearly 75 countries have indeed lined up to talk with the Trump administration about negotiating lower tariffs. This is a positive development, and the stock market has rebounded a bit as a result. However, this will take time to negotiate. There are only about 250 employees at the U.S. Trade Representative's office to conduct these negotiations, so we'll have to see how this works out going into early July. In the interim, please follow along on both the White House and the U.S. Trade Representative's web pages, as well as the California Chamber. Thank you for listening.